Okay, hello everyone. My name is Anastasiia. I'm an international volunteer from Plungės Jaunimo centras. And today we are here to film the pilot episode of the podcast club. And we'll be talking about books and literature with none other than the person who
The
has
authority.
connection to literature, the volunteer from the library, Moise.
Hello, everyone.
Would you like to tell more about yourself to the general
I think
public?
all have has been said already. My name is Moise, and I am volunteering at the library. And I also studied history, so I would like to say that I know my way around books. I hope.
If we're talking about education, I studied philology, so I also know ball. And yeah, this is going to be an incredibly nerdy podcast. And I hope we don't get too aggressive by the end of it.
Hopefully.
Anyway, we decided to do the podcast in the form of hot takes about the literature. And yeah, I think each one of us will present a hot take, which will be later on discussed. And that would be it.
Yes.
Would you like to start?
I wanted to ask you the exact same thing.
Should I start?
Yes, I think you should start. As our gracious host of today and the next episodes.
Okay. I don't think my take is that hot, but in closed reading communities, I feel like there is some sort of snobism that exists around more fun genres of books. Like, I don't know, the easier fantasy or some sort of romance or romantasy and all these types of things. And I have encountered numerous times comments of people being like, oh, that doesn't count as reading. It's like, if you don't have to suffer through the book, then it doesn't really count as you even reading. So I think that it's not true. And I think that any sort of reading is reading, and that you can genuinely learn something from any sort of book. And to that, like piggybacking off of it, I'll make a sub hot take. Is the take about, fiction in general being useless, and you only need to read non-fiction books that teach you how to do stuff, and everything else is irrelevant. Like, if it cannot be monetized, if it cannot be applied directly, like what you read to what you do, then it doesn't make any sense.
The fact that some people actually think that if it's not fantasy but not if it's fiction literature, then it isn't worth to be read. This is generally mind-boggling to me, because like in my life, I think some of the biggest lessons that I had were from actual fiction books,
No,
and
exactly.
even some of them from, let's say, lesser fiction, as some would put it, like fantasy or the fun genre that you mentioned before.
Yeah. So I think it's very problematic, and it also, instead of just being happy that nowadays in the world of clip thinking, people are choosing to actually sit down with a book and read something, we're shaming them for their choice of books, is, I think, is really stupid.
Yeah, and then in the context where I saw statistic lately that when you read or when you do something, you have this feeling of grabbing up the phone or doing something else, like after 1 minute, like 1 minute after starting reading a book or scrolling something, you 1 minute. So we generally have like
Yeah. No,
TikTok
we're
brain.
cooked. We're cooked. I know
We
that.
generally are cooked.
I have felt it myself. And also, it's been a case with me for the past few years, I think, like after COVID, that yeah, it began to be a lot harder to pick up the book and start reading, maybe it's a me problem because like I
It's
actually
also a me
have
problem.
TikTok.
I do not have TikTok, but it's still
That
also.
yes, if a book doesn't capture me somehow from the first 3 pages, then yeah, I'll be like tweaking and
Yeah,
wanting to do something else, not being able to like actually dedicate my
I
focus to
have
it.
I have the same problem with this. I think there are some books that I thoroughly loved that I've read so fast that I started maybe 5 or 6 times, like opening up,
Mm-hmm.
reading the first page or the first 2 pages, and then closing it, forgetting it for like 3 4 months, coming back until it finally caught on to me, and then I, like Dune, for example. Dune was
Yeah.
the same thing. Like I've read the first page probably 6 times
Mm-hmm.
before I picked it up again, and I've read it in like 1 week. It was an incredible book. I recommend it to everyone. It's genuinely a good classic
No,
and really
yeah.
fun also. It's like also really, you can call it also intellectual. It's also fun, engaging. So I think it checks all the boxes.
No, fair, fair. But to be honest, that has happened to me like before the TikTok has been introduced. Like, but I've always considered it to be some sort of divine timing that, I was not ready for that book. And then when I
Honest.
actually was ready, it caught on to me,
No,
and that
but
was
here
great.
you are actually so right, because I had the exact same thought yesterday when I was thinking of what book to start. And I think I have the same perspective on this. Always, a book caught me right in the moment when it
Yeah.
should have caught me, and we're not talking here about like, because the first 3 pages caught me. It's about the some message in the middle of the book. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
page 300, 400, that resonated with me only in that moment, and it would have not resonated so much with me, for example, the other
Yeah.
times when I would have picked it up.
Yeah, 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 exactly. That's how I treat all of this. So, yes,
No,
the
honest.
takeaway from this hot take is that if you're reading something, it's already good, and you should be proud of yourself for actually having the mental hygiene and discipline of carrying on with reading when you could have been doing something probably more fun or engaging, yada yada. Although reading is incredibly fun and engaging
Yeah,
if you actually have the discipline to do this. It's
but
like
that's the
Ouroboros.
thing, that you can form this
You can.
exercise is like, just replace doom scrolling 5 minutes, I don't know, when you're drinking coffee or when you're sitting somewhere waiting for a friend. Instead of pulling up your phone, just pull out a book, and doom read
Doom reading,
for
yeah.
5 minutes.
But also, what has helped me to get back into reading, like constantly, and to form an actual habit and to discipline myself with it, I installed an app. I think it's a Ukrainian application. It's called Rork, and it's super based because basically you need to find a book there, and then you click start reading, and it's like a timer. Basically, it counts how long you've reading, and then you need to log in the pages that you've read, and yeah, it's, I don't know. Sometimes it feels very harsh because it also like judges your speed of reading and everything. So that's, I don't like that feature specifically, but it does help to build a habit by, visualizing. And I actually know that I sit down, I put the timer thing on, blah blah blah, read.
But the fact that you can be judged on your reading speed is
I don't know,
mind-boggling
by
for
the
me.
way. Maybe
She
now
reads really
they
fast.
maybe now they removed it. No, but sometimes, I also get this like brain fog condition that I think everyone gets, where you're rereading the same paragraph because you're reading with your eyes and with not with your
Yeah,
brain actually. So yeah, that influences that. But if you're chill about it, if you're not a perfectionist, and if it genuinely doesn't ruin your day to see that, oh, your speed has slowed down or something, it's just a tracker. That's what it is.
Crazy.
And it gives you a really nice calendar. Like in a month, you can see all the book covers that you've read, and like you have a visual representation of your reading. So I think that also adds to the sense of accomplishment. And that's really nice.
Okay, no, that's cool. I think I had one more idea related to this, but I forgot about it. Probably I will come back afterwards. Now, my hot take is kind of related to yours, and I want to start. How did I reach this hot take? I will tell it afterwards. It started when I was reading Crime and Punishment, and I've read, I think, the first 200 pages. Obviously, everyone I think saw on the internet, if they have the algorithm for it, all these people like praising Dostoevsky, that he's so deep and it's so soulful and everything. But to be fully honest, when I've read Crime and Punishment, after 200 pages that I've read, like with in hardship, I just stopped because it was not even sluggish. It was also, I don't know, kind of cringe. To get onto my hot take, where does it come from in the first place? It comes from the time when I was reading Dostoevsky, not for the first time, but I was reading Crime and Punishment, and I was going really hardly through it. Like, um, I don't know even how to put it. It was not an easy read, but not because it was deep or soulful. It was because it was actually boring and not that interesting. And I think that we are being used to seeing some specific classics being hailed as like tops of literature, like Dostoevsky, for example. You always see them. You always see them there, and especially with Crime and Punishment, which I genuinely think it's not that interesting, and it doesn't have that um, depth that some people like to say that it has. And then I was talking with a friend, and I was telling that the PR didn't work, it was boring, and then my friend said that if you were living in the 19th century and you were also literate, uh, and you would have to wait for the next chapter of that book, like you are waiting for the newest Netflix episode of, I don't even know what's hot nowadays on Netflix, but it was like the exact equivalent of Netflix. And what is the conclusion of this? Like the hot take in itself is that some of the classics, uh, I don't want to say a number here, but I would say probably half of them do not mean as much as they used to mean. They are still very good representations of their age and period and whatever, but by comparison with all the culture that we have today, including like TV series or movies or video games, they not only are also hard to get through, but also as material they are not so interesting. And besides that, there are some themes or some ideas that you can see in these classics that sometimes are even better explored through other mediums. Like, for example, in here, video games is like my biggest examples, and is the hill that I will die on. As you said, with like easy books, this is how I am towards video games, because they are unironically really good mediums to explore very hard topics, like the Witcher games, for example, which will handle the topics of mm, I don't even know everything: war, discrimination, and like harder stuff that you can find in like classic books, but represented in a newer way, sometimes in a better way, and with a new polish. And disclaimer: I'm not saying that classics are not worth anything anymore. I'm just saying um, that some can actually be outdated, especially for the newest generation.
But did you finish reading Crime and Punishment?
Absolutely not. That's the thing, that I couldn't even get through it. That, but you know, and it's not even that case that we talked about. That I read either the first. It happens rarely to me, like to actually stop in the middle of a book. It needs to be like a special kind of book in a bad way for me to like stop in the middle of the way. Because it's either I start it, first 10, 20 pages, and that's it, or I finish it. Like usually there's no in between. But with some books, it happened this way.
No, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like regarding the hot take in general. But it's like, I think it's very intricate and detailed thing because with the example of Dostoevsky in general, yeah, I agree full on. I'm sorry, this is my hot take that he's not that good of a writer in general. However, no, Crime and Punishment is deeply psychological. I also have to like sort of disagree with you.
Yeah, but it seems pretty cringe. Like it's just a neurotic person being neurotic.
Yes, but also like this is another thing that should be considered, that at this point, like before you read Crime and Punishment, you were probably already exposed to like a lot of psychological literature.
No, then this is
yes,
exactly my point. That I was.
It was a
it's
novelty.
Not novel.
It was
Yeah,
a first thing back
that's
then.
what I mean.
I think when teaching it, it's important to regard it as such.
Oh yeah, to have it in context, and that's what I mean. Crime and Punishment probably was like a true banger back when it's like appeared in feuilleton.
Yeah,
back in
it's
the
just important to
1800s.
like, when you study literature in general, it's important to understand that some books are studied and put in the programs simply for the novelty of them at the time and for
True.
their like significance for the genre in general.
Look, but Brothers Karamazov, that one I've read the first 10 pages when
Yeah.
I was in the first year of university, and I remember that from the first 10 pages I loved it, but I was actually too scared to actually tackle that whole monstrosity.
No,
But I will get back to it because it sounds like really cool, and a really cool critique and analysis on human nature.
like if I had to choose the best like magnum opus of Dostoevsky, I would say either Idiot or Demons.
I've also heard that those are really good, yeah.
They are. They actually are. He like outdid himself. But I still don't think he's
And
the
another
best
thing, like
writer out
notes
there.
from the underground. Here, my intellectual capabilities may be limited, but I generally did not understand. I couldn't follow the
Yeah,
plot of
no.
notes of underground. It's just like schizo posting. It's 60 pages of constant schizo posting.
But that's also something. I mean, it evolved into its own genre, into
True.
the stream of consciousness, and
But the idiot, and I have a lapsus. The other one. And the demons.
Demons.
Yeah, I really want to read, especially because I've heard that the demons is about that the anarchist.
yes, it's his probably most political book.
Yeah.
Maybe the only political.
Yeah,
proper
and like
political one,
fun
yes.
fact, actually the word nihilist comes from Russian literature as well, like from Turgenev's. Correct
Yeah.
me if I'm wrong. Like Turgenev's novel Fathers and Sons,
Yeah.
which I don't know, copyrighted this word nihilist
Like
from
it coined
the main
term.
character.
Yes.
Yeah. Another book that I stopped halfway reading, generally halfway, like 50% on Kindle. I don't know what was
No,
up.
I think to begin with Russian literature, I think it's more difficult because, some things are very hardly palatable in general. But if we talk about the Western literature staples, I would say that's more interesting overall to me personally. Because once again, probably it feels more exotic, like all of these Pride and Prejudice, yada yada.
Like the Russian literature feels for like the Western people.
yeah,
for
like
example.
so I think for me personally, that's the case, that it's nothing new or interesting for me in Russian literature, or
Yeah, but again, I am not. Even if I'm working in the library, I'm not as well read as I would like to be, so I cannot really comment. I did not read that much Russian literature, and apparently, which I've read, I've stopped.
Makes sense. Yeah. So
But okay, what
that's that.
like talking
Yeah.
about this from the Western literature? What book would be like outdated by these
Completely
standards?
outdated.
Well, I mean, you can find like plenty of bad books, but which are the classics that's
That like wouldn't make sense to you at all. For
yeah.
example, if you read
Because
them
like
now.
all of them made sense to me, and I found something that
Yeah,
touched me
that's
in
what
all
I'm
of them
talking about.
that I've read.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
didn't read that many of them, but probably The Old Man and the Sea.
I don't know. I think it's like it's not tied to any
I
like
don't know.
time and space circumstances. Basically, I think it's like what do you call it? Uh, Not a cautionary tale, but like an eternal tale of something.
Hmm. Yeah, but
I don't know. I
with
think it's a
everyone.
metaphor for in general.
No,
So
yeah,
with
naturally.
that, I don't think it can be outdated.
But can't there be like better metaphors? What do you think about
No,
it?
I wanted to say Grazia Deledda.
No, but is it a classic?
It is. I mean, in Italian literature, she has her place. What do you mean?
Okay, but how many people like have heard of Grazia Deledda
I don't
outside of
know,
Italy?
but
And even in Italy, out of 10 Italians, how many would have heard of Grazia
I don't
Deledda?
know. It's none of my business. I'm just proud that I've heard of
That's
her.
actually based. Yeah, it's
It's a
niche. It's
flex.
very niche.
No, but that's the thing that like she writes about mm, small town in Sardinia happenings. Um, it's not like it's kind of a gossip magazine type of thing, but
Mhm.
written like seriously and literary. You
I mean,
know.
but there are many like gossip magazines written in. Wuthering Heights is a gossip magazine
Yes,
written
but
as a
no, Wuthering
classic.
Heights is also, I don't know, it's a prime example of like good Gothic literature, and
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
very psychologically, I think it's phenomenally written, and
Yeah.
no, I have no questions about that. I don't know, I would say the outdated things. I also don't have a example right now, but something tied to like colonial stuff. Probably, I don't know, in the age of
Mm,
post-colonialism, would it be relatable per se? It's a good example of like what shouldn't be done. In that way, it can be useful, but yeah, maybe for a lot
mm-hmm.
of people who come from, societies that weren't oppressed, maybe it wouldn't make sense. I don't know. Once again, if you can find books that aren't relatable to specific kind of people in
No, yeah,
general, of
naturally, because
course.
there are like universal motifs that
Yes,
can speak to you across time and space.
but just to say that no one will get this specific book
Yeah,
is
no. I
a
cannot say
reach.
that no one because it depends on taste, but mm, I don't know. There are some which
Probably.
cannot speak to you as good as they might have spoke to you if you were born 50, 60 years ago. For example, like I probably would have liked Crime and Punishment in two contexts if I would have read it like way younger, like at 15 or 16, or if I've read it at this age but 50, 60 years ago. Because we live in a world of intense psychological complexity in
Yeah, no,
everything.
exactly. That's the point.
So like
Yes.
older psychological books do not hit us hard. Okay, I changed my hot take. My hot take is that psychological books from the 19th century don't hit us hard now as they used to because of the psychological complexity that we see in generally everything.
No, nothing. I just wanted to mention that, for example, Jane Austen, it's actually to add to my original take and to merge our takes together in a way. That I mean, Jane Austen, when she first published Pride and Prejudice, this was a prime example of like female literature, and it was something like romantasy or just romance literature for us these days, and it wasn't very like highly acclaimed naturally because it was just for the women to read about man. Ugh. And now it's regarded as a classic.
One of the
So
classics, yeah.
the perception changes, everything changes, to be honest.
Yeah, but
But
the
some
book,
things
doesn't
linger.
change.
Yes.
That's cool.
But also, yeah, and here you see what's described is the the whole humanity's long struggle of love. I think that's the easiest thing to incorporate to make your book like a classic.
Yeah, probably, or a variation.
Yeah, no, and
But you
that's the
still need
thing.
a twist on it, and you to write
Of
it
course.
good.
No, these days, sure, because once again, the market is overflooded.
Oversaturated.
Yes, we have been exposed to all sorts of takes and perspectives on all the classic subjects, like love, war, hate, whatever, and it takes a very original mind to coin a new look at the sentiment. So, anyway, what's important is that we actually discipline ourselves to read and think about what we read. Maybe not necessarily like what we're reading,
That's
but
another
still,
important
but
lesson.
still be able, to read it.
Read to hate. Read to hate.
Yes, and to get into the polemics with it.
Exactly. Even if you don't like it, you should. I'm being highly hypocritical for saying this, but even if you don't like it, continue it, so you can actually badmouth it with a foundation.
Yes,
No,
your
unlike
hate
me.
will come from the point of great nuance. Like you should be able to actually flex and say, you know what, I hate this book. It's the worst book ever because, and list the reasons, and that's the flex that you think it is.
I think we're ending on a good
And
note.
come to the book club every Thursday at 3 at the youth center.
Real. What is the
We
book
can-
that you're reading now, or are you deciding?
We haven't started it yet. So there's that. Yeah. Please feel free, come ahead, register. We'll be happy to talk to you and to hate or love some books from the place of great nuance. So thanks for listening to us yapping, and see you next time. Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe the youngsters will actually be inspired to create their own podcasts
And
about
you will
whatever
be
they
in our
want.
stead to
And
yap for
yes,
20 minutes
exactly.
under this beautiful tree.
Exactly. So think about it, okay? And feel free to join the podcast club and the book club. We have all sorts of clubs. Let's go.